Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us for this video where we're going to be answering all the most frequently asked questions about postgraduate study with UTS Business School. My name is John Elliott, and joining me today are my colleagues Rachel Sidoti and Samantha Nugent. Between us, we've had decades of experience answering questions from people just like you, so we're hoping that today we can preempt most of those and give you all the information you need. We're going to be covering off a number of topics. We're going to be looking at how to decide what you want to study and where you should study it, the pathways to postgraduate study, postgraduate options with UTS Business School, fees, recognition of prior learning, and how to apply. If you like, you can fast forward to those sections using the time codes that you can see on the screen now. Okay, so let's look at choosing the right degree for you. Now, at UTS, we understand that this is one of the biggest decisions you're ever going to make. In fact, in all of our time at university, we've only met a couple of people who've got more than one MBA. So to help you make the right decision, you need to understand what's important to you. And what's important to you will be unique to you and your needs for your profession and your personal situation. But some of the things you might want to look at include the quality. Now, this covers off everything from the student experience, the quality of your fellow students, the brand reputation of the university and the course, the quality of the academics and the materials they use, and all of those different criteria. Whatever's important to you, you want to look at the quality for that. Now, you can look at rankings and all of those sorts of things, but a really useful tool that you might want to explore is compared.edu.au. Now, what this does is it compiles all this course experience surveys from students, and then you can search based on the field of management and commerce and postgraduate, and then you can compare UTS with any other institution that you might be considering. And we recommend that you do this to help make sure you are making an informed decision. But you can look at things like the student experience, how they rated their academics, the materials they use, the support services, all of those sorts of things. It's a really useful tool, so please make use of that. A big element to consider is the return on investment for your studies. Postgraduate study at university is not cheap. And most people considering doing PG study in business are doing it to either facilitate career change, career progression, or career security. So you want to make sure that you're getting what you need to help support that. And one of the best ways you can measure this, in addition to the compared data, is looking at what people have done with the degree before you. And a great source for this is LinkedIn, which has over 160,000 UTS alumni on it. From this, you can drill down to a specific course and look at what people have done since they graduated and look at what they did before they started their degree. It's a really useful tool, and I thoroughly recommend that you make use of that. Rachel and Sam, do you have any other recommendations about what people should do when deciding on a course?
So for me, I completed the Master of Marketing at UTS. And one of the big things that really influenced my decision was exactly how the subjects were conducted. So obviously course content, it sounds really obvious. You want to make sure that it's good course content. But for me, it was those opportunities to engage with real organizations that really set it apart for me. So in certain subjects over my degree, we worked with the Sydney Swans, we worked with a not-for-profit art gallery, we worked with a startup, and those opportunities to work with industry gave me something else apart from just my degree. When I finished, I was able to have some concrete examples to add to my resume, which was really valuable.
I would just add to Rachel's point as well, just to really go through the UTS handbook and have a look at all the subjects that you will be completing throughout your course. Again, as Rach said, it does sound pretty obvious, but if you click through, you can have a look at an overview of the assessments that you're completing, as well as what each subject comprises. So I just think that that's a really important point as well, just to really understand each subject that will be making up your degree.
Now, Sam, talk us through the different pathways that people can take towards postgraduate study, because you don't necessarily need to have already done a bachelor's degree in order to take on postgraduate study, do you?
No, that's right. So if you have 4 years full-time professional work experience, you're eligible to apply for our graduate certificate programs. So the graduate certificates are typically made up of 4 of the core subjects within the master's or the graduate diploma program. So that it goes the graduate certificate, and then next on is the graduate diploma, which is typically eight of the core subjects from within the masters. So it doesn't add, to go through these pathways doesn't add any more time or cost anything else, and you're actually in the classes with those doing the masters and the graduate diplomas, but it is just an alternate pathway. So once you pass those 4 subjects, you'll receive a conditional offer to continue studying.
And Rachel, for people that do have an undergraduate degree, do they need to have studied anything in business before, or can it be from all different sectors and fields?
It really depends on what course you're wanting to do. Some master's degrees do require you to have a relevant undergraduate degree, others don't. However, for the ones that do require a related degree, like marketing, for instance, so if you have an unrelated undergraduate degree and you want to apply for a master's that does require a related degree, you can come into the graduate diploma. So say for the Master of Marketing, if you've done, a Bachelor of Laws or a Bachelor of Engineering, you can come into the graduate diploma, which is the first 8 subjects, and then make your way into the master's that way.
Now, if you have studied in that field before, are there any opportunities for recognition of prior learning so that you don't need to relearn what you already know?
So basically, if you have studied something that's deemed equivalent to UTS subjects, then you may be eligible for recognition of prior learning. Generally speaking, you need to have completed that study within 10 years. For most master's degrees, you can get 4 subjects as recognition of prior learning based on an undergraduate degree. And potentially more if you've done any postgraduate study as well.
Now, it's important to note that recognition of prior learning doesn't include the learning that you might do on the job or throughout your profession. And while this certainly might help you in applying what you learn at university into a professional context, it doesn't equal what you're actually going to learn within UTS Business School and within our programs. A lot of our programs actually expect, especially things like the Executive MBA, that you will be bringing to the table a significant professional experience. So Sam, when do people, if they are applying for recognition of prior learning, when do they do that process?
Yes, so upon a successful application, you can, and once prior to enrolling in your subjects, you can get in touch with the Student Centre, or it's on, or there's a form available, My Student Admin, that you can download. And as Rachel said, you'll need to compare the subjects that you have done with those that you are looking to receive credit for, and you can submit the form to the Student Centre.
Now, unfortunately, postgraduate study in Australia isn't free. And a big question we get is, how do fees work? Now, the best way to explain this is to actually take you through the fees calculator. So let's do this now. Okay, so the easiest way to work this out is just to simply Google UTS fees calculator, and this will take you to this page here. Now, you need to select a few things, so I'll take you through it. Now, for most of you, you will be a postgraduate domestic coursework student. If you're from overseas, you'll be an international postgraduate coursework student. So let's click here. The fee year, let's look at 2020 or 2021. Let's look at 2021. And the cohort year is 2021 as well. If you've already been studying for many years, you might be in an earlier cohort year, but that reflects the year that you commenced your postgraduate study. Course area, we'll tick in business because that's what you're doing, and your course code or name. Most of you won't remember your course code, so we'll just type in the name here. Let's go with, say, the MBA, but of course you can't just type in MBA, so we'll type in Master of Business, and you can see I've done this before, Business Administration, and click search. And what we get here are a couple of results, because we've got 4 different MBAs. So let's look at the top one here, which is our regular MBA. There's the course code. This shows you the cost per credit point. So you can see here for each credit point that you do within the MBA, it's $692. Now, a part that causes a little bit of confusion is this bit here, which is the fees per session. This assumes that you're doing a full-time load for each session. A session is what we call a semester. So if you are doing 4 subjects, it will cost you $16,605 per semester. Of course, if you're only doing 2 subjects in a semester, it will cost you half that, or roughly $8,302. Now, when you pay your fees, you pay by the session. So if you're enrolled in 2 subjects, you pay for those 2 subjects that you're doing. You don't pay for the whole degree up front or anything like that. And for Australian students, you can elect to defer your payment to your taxes, just like if you did that for undergraduate with your HECS debt. And that will automatically use a program called Study Assist to help you defer those payments. And it just comes out of your tax. It's really nice and easy, and it's indexed to what you're earning. So the higher you earn, the more percentage of your income goes to paying it back. So it starts at 1% and then goes all the way up to 8%. Now, Rachel, a big question that we often get is around how to balance study with your professional and personal life. Can you give us some tips about how people have done that, especially if it's been a while since they've been at university?
Yeah, it is a bit of a challenge to manage study, work, and some semblance of a personal life. But the really good thing is that you can generally vary your timetable based on what what best suits you. So for me, and for a lot of my peers as well, when we first started, we started off with just 1 subject. Because we just wanted to kind of dip our toe into it and see how it went. In some semesters, there were subjects that we had a lot of experience with the course content, so we thought maybe we could balance 2 subjects at a time. And then there were other semesters where I had I was buying a house, for instance, and getting married, and didn't want to tempt fate by studying on top of that as well. So I was able to take a leave of absence for that semester too. So if you're working full time, we would generally recommend you do no more than 2 subjects. And you don't need to worry about, stretching the duration of your degree out, because you can always do some subjects over summer session as well to help you keep track and keep your sanity as well.
The last thing we want to cover off is how to apply. Because having decided that we've got the right course for you, you're going to need to apply for it. And now, for domestic students, the way you do this is online via our website, and you can see the link to this on the slide below now. The most important thing to keep in mind are the closing dates for the session that you want to start your degree in. So if you want to start in summer or autumn, keep an eye on those dates and don't leave it to the last minute to apply, because the sooner you put your application in, the sooner you can get hopefully your offer, and then the sooner you can start enrolling in subjects and getting your head around what you need to do. Applications are free, and it takes around about half an hour to complete an application. Sam, what do people need to supply when they're lodging their application with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can apply if you went to university within Australia. Generally, you can apply with either your student ID or a transcript. If you aren't applying based on your bachelor's degree, then you'll also need a statement of service, which is simply a signature and some dates from a manager or a boss at your current workplace. If you're not looking to advise your workplace that you're studying, you can also get a stat deck done. And then you will also need an up-to-date resume.
Now, for international students, the application process differs in that you'll apply directly through UTS International, and you can see the link on your screen now for that. So Rachel, what's your #1 tip for people considering postgraduate study with UTS Business School?
My #1 tip, it's pretty simple. Just go for it. Don't hesitate in investing in yourself, because the rewards are just fantastic, not only in yourself for completing it, but in terms of your career potential, it's invaluable.
My top tip would be, if you have any questions at all, we understand that it is a big decision. You can organise to have a phone consultation with myself or a member of the support team. As I said, we understand it's a huge commitment, so we would really recommend reaching out and getting all the information that you need in order to feel comfortable to apply.
So I'd like to thank you all for joining us through this video. For the next steps, what I want you to do is make sure you look at that course content, have a really good drill through. A lot of our programs have specific videos specifically on their content, how they work. You can see the academics who teach into them. If you've got any questions, please contact us via the contact details you can see on the screen now, and good luck with your decision making.